You know who my first financial advisor was after I graduated from pharmacy school? You'll never guess. Chris Rock, the comedian. Chris Rock said in one of his stand-ups in the late 90s that he always lives below his means. And that was what allowed him to be able to have the things that he wanted and not to be under stress. So I have lived by that motto my entire career, my entire life. And that is why I am able to give you some tips on how to find a strategy for financial freedom. Of course, when you get out of pharmacy school, you want to celebrate and enjoy the fact that you're not broke anymore. But I'm going to tell you what I did, and you can take it or leave some of this advice. The first thing I did was to open a bank account. I was completely broke, didn't even need a bank account. I think maybe I had a small bank account. I don't even know for what reasons, because I didn't have any money in it. My parents were sending me money via money order and old-fashioned ways. So I opened a bank account and opened a savings account. And I also opened a checking account so I can have checks when people were writing checks back then. Also, I bought my first car that I ever owned. I had many cars while I was in pharmacy school, but the last car that I had when I was graduating, basically we called it the car that had no brakes. It had brake failure. In order for me to get off of the freeway and stop, I had to pull up the emergency brake. And this is no lie. So I bought a new car, a safe car. And the second thing that I did was I moved out of the hood. I moved to a better apartment because I was making more money, and it was just safer. And I just loved that I was able to decorate my own place. Once I started getting a paycheck, I did pay myself first, which means whatever, I was working for Kroger Pharmacy, whatever they were offering as benefits to the employees, I put my money there. And then, of course, I was saving some money into my savings account. This was also when I got my first credit card, and it is the credit card that I still have to this day. If you could see, I've been a member since 1995. This is the only credit card I've ever used. And this is the key to me building my credit score. If I need anything big, purchases, I bought and paid off this card immediately. And full transparency, I have an 820 credit score. I also immediately started to pay my student loans back. At that time, I paid the minimum balance. It did take me 10 years to pay off my student loans at the minimum balance, but that was something I didn't want to lapse. And outside of that, I didn't spend frivolously, but I did do some shopping, buy clothes, buy makeup, go out to dinner with my friends, and had fun. And of course, at this time I was single, so basically I had no budget. I was doing my few things that I know I needed to do up front with my money, and I was living life. Fast forward to when you have more people in your family and you have to have a budget because there's so many hands in the bucket. And again, you can take this or leave it, but when you have a partner and you're sharing money, you can either have a joint account or separate accounts, and really that's dependent on what you want to do. But because of that, and if you have children, you have to budget your money, and everyone has to be on the same page. I tried the joint account situation when I first got married, and it didn't work out for me, so we always had separate accounts, and we just contributed it to a separate account that we had for childcare. Financial literacy is not always something that everybody has. So when you are getting married or choosing a partner, that is something that you need to discuss. If in this day and time, if you can't get a 15-year mortgage on a house, then you can't afford that house. Do not trap yourself in a 30-year mortgage paying all of that interest. Even if the interest is low, who wants to be paying a house for 30 years? Tell me that. This is one area where I lost 5 years because when we got married and bought our first home, we did a 30-year mortgage. And 5 years in, I'm thinking, this is dumb. So I refinanced for 15 years. House totally paid off right now, by the way. Another thing about financial literacy, and again, it's up to you, I don't cross-pollinate credit score. So if my partner's getting a car, they're getting a car on their credit. If I'm getting a big purchase or a car, I'm getting a car on my credit. Another thing that I've heard from a coworker is if you are married and you have a partner who is making a significant amount of money, or at least as much as you, and you're able to live on one income, I highly suggest you do that and put the other income towards student loans or emergency savings or your mortgage. Another big ticket item for me was private school tuition. And I paid my son's total private school tuition each year through stock options. I'm not a big stock person. I don't know the market like that, but I did buy stock from the company that I was working with at a 10% discount. And every year I would cash out my stocks to pay the private school tuition, and I didn't have to touch any of my money. For my son's college education, I started a 529 when he was born, constantly and consistently put money in that. So he had a nice bit of money for his first year of college. And I also did Gerber life insurance plan. It is a life insurance plan, obviously, for your kid, but it also has cash out value at 18 years old. Of course, the longer you're with your company, you want to max out your 401k and definitely get the 100% match for the years that they apply that. And that can be a significant growth in your financial freedom. And I guess about 5 or more years ago, I actually hired a financial planner to be over my money, and we opened our IRA account at that time. And so I was putting minimum amounts of money in there because most of my money was going to a 401k. Again, I'm not financially savvy. I just know what works for me. The bottom line is never leave any money on the table. If there's stock options at a discount, if they're matching programs, if it is anything that's going to be pre-taxed that can help you with your financial freedom, even though you're young and you think you don't have to worry about that all the time or right at this moment, but time moves by so fast. And by the time you look up and you're 50 years old, you're like, oh, I do not want to work another 25 years. That is not an option. So if you can take away anything from my strategies, please do. And just always be financially smart. And I challenge you to get on your financial path immediately. Don't wait, because it will make the difference in your life.